Does the world need saving? And when we're asking that question or contemplating on that, first we have to understand or ask the question, what is the world? Is it the shapes, forms, um, objects, concepts, the things we see? We assume that on the outside, all of this is the world. And if we were saving what we see, how does that look? It starts with the shapes and the forms. What would that look like? How would you be able to change the shapes and the forms? Are they always the same, or are they ever changing? Are they here today and gone tomorrow? So if there's a change we made, how long would that last? When we're talking about our world and the forms. Well, let's go to the concepts. Concept seems to come and go. One day something's good for you, the next day it's not. And so how would that look if we were to save that, save a concept? As we see in our everyday experiences, concepts, they don't last. They're just like the clouds passing also. They're here today, gone tomorrow. One day coffee's good for you, the next day it's not. One day this is the best diet, the next day it's not. One day this is the best learning module, the next day it's gone. Something else comes up, and so it's always changing. So how does it look to save the concepts? What is it that needs saving when it comes to the forms? We think of forms, what do we think of? It's the people, the vessels that we see. What does that look like? Who needs saving when it comes to people? What is it that we're saving? How do you save people? Physically, someone could be in trouble and you can go over there, rescue a cat or rescue a child from, water. But is that the saving we're talking about? Are we saviors? Are we here to save the world? We're talking about these shapes and forms, the appearance of things on the outside. Is that really the world? Where does the world come from? Because if you ask more than one person or being, they will tell you, well, the world is this or that, or their view on the world. Each one would have a different perspective, wouldn't they? So what does that tell you about the world? If everyone that you ask have a different perspective, then wouldn't the answer to be, whether we can save the world will be just as vast as the perspectives on what we need to do in order to save the world? When we realize that the world is, where does it come from? These perspectives. They come from, is it the mind? Each mind or the mind? It's like the thoughts and the perceptions of each one creates their own world. So what does that tell you about the world? Is it really something out there? This world that we need to save? Is it outside of us? Or does it come from the mind? That an activity of the mind? Because outside of this construct, is there a world? Does the world still exist? Or were we here prior to the creation? Prior to the frequency, prior to the vibration, prior to the activity? So when we say our world, what we're saying is the thoughts and perceptions, which creates all of this. So you would have to look from within in order to make that saving, to be able to save anything. And what is it that needs saving? Is it you and I that need saving? And who would be this you and I that needs saving? Can I save a you? Can you save a I? I mean, there's things that we do, like here I feel connected with everyone, with you all, and the source of why I'm here. Even with this channel, I don't feel like I'm a savior. I'm not a savior. I know I can save anyone. You know, I can point you to yourself. I can point you to what's already here, to the you. But does you really need saving? And what is the you and the me? If we say we were here before all things, we are the unchanging amongst the changing, limitless, boundless, the source of life, that breath of life that was breathed. We are life. Does that need changing? So when we talk about saving others, what would it be that we would be saving? Because we know that persona and ego is not really real. It's just a word we use for ideas and beliefs and shapes and forms. A belief of something that we're not. So it's just as fictitious as the cloud passing. So is there a way to save that, or would we want to save that? But the truth that lies behind all of the activity, does that need saving? Or is saving just another concept? Saving the world? Are those all just fictitious entities that we have? I mean, there's a word we need to, that we use in order to communicate amongst one another, with the understanding that behind all of these shapes, forms, and concepts, truth is there, love is there, peace, the source of life for which everything emanates. And that doesn't need any saving. And so when it's talking about a you and I that needs to be saving, we're here to save the world. Is that real? I mean, or is that just another concept? Because the only being, only thing you can point someone back to the source, or back to themselves, but they were never lost. There was no saving that was needed. You can only unveil, do your own veiling, or save yourself in that sense. sense of saving yourself. You can only save yourself. There's no one that I can really save when it comes to the world. Because it's almost like, it's likened to someone that is maybe a crackhead, pulling a crackhead out of the environment they are, putting them in a mansion in the suburb. Said, okay, now you're saved. What's going to happen to that crackhead? Is he really saved? What's needed in order for them to want a different experience? Basically, the last end of that sentence, you have to want a different experience. Their own being brings them back. And the only thing we can do is point them in the direction. We can be a helping hand to help, with the unveiling to those hearts that are already searching for that which isn't lost. That's what we can do. We can do the pointings, but are we actually saving? Or do I have a mission to save the world? There's no mission, because the world isn't lost. We are not lost. There's no you, there's no I. There's that source, And all of this is just a stage. This is a learning experience. This is it, But that true knowing doesn't need anything, It's from which everything already emanates. And so the answer to the question, are we here? Am I here to save the world? Absolutely not. Not here to save anything or anyone, because everything is perfect as it is. When there's a pull within your heart to find that source of light, that truth that's within all of us, the inquiry your own being will lead you right where you need to be. Anyway, that's what came up today. I thank you for you all sharing this moment with me. And remember that you are beautiful and I love you. Bye.